first, I don't think the thing that I saw growing up, I never really saw people date, right?
Okay.
I heard of terminology like courting,
Yeah.
right? And I like that. Like a
Yeah.
person comes and is interacting with your family.
Right.
You interact with their family.
Right.
It's like a slow cook,
Yeah.
right? And I'm not saying that to say, oh, don't have sex on the first date or whatever.
Mhm.
But what I am saying is like there is something that is shared when you get to know where a person is coming from,
Yeah.
and they know where you're coming from. You kind of
Right.
you get to look at a woman and see her mother and go, and so that is what I have to expect.
Right.
Right? Welcome to the circle,
Where we tap into the journey of life, spirituality, and wellness. We are the BoujAunties. BoujAunties.
Yes.
It is Tuesday, and this is a way that we meet up with our nieces and nephews. We can't do brunch.
No, we
So,
can't.
you know, this is
Not
the
with
way.
all of y'all.
Right?
That'd be expensive.
You know, but happy Tuesday.
Tuesday, and it's July, and we're almost what? It's like half of the year.
Half of the year is almost done.
Wow.
God.
Wow.
Counting
Yeah.
it down like that, it just gives you a realization of what, like,
Time.
yeah.
Time moves, and that sometimes it feels like speed.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just like, all right, it just moving.
Yeah, slow.
So last night we were hanging out at Peaches on
Yes.
Tompkins,
Yes.
and we got to talking about how we feel seen,
Right.
but it transformed into how do people feel seen on the dating scene,
Right.
right?
So wait. So before we get into feeling seen,
Yes, ma'am.
we have to let these people know who we are, especially
Oh,
for
and
new
yeah, look,
viewers,
yes.
right?
Hi, y'all. Welcome to the BoujAuntie experience. I'm Khadija.
Jameelah.
Yes, and this is all things wellness.
Yes.
And wellness griot. We tell
yeah.
that wellness story.
Yeah.
And I lead into being seen because that's part of feeling well. Right?
Yeah.
Like knowing that when you show up, that people actually see you and
Yeah.
take the time to see you.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels easier than others.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were talking about maybe 4 women in different stages of their lives, talking about the connection, like meaningful connections that you want to have with people. And sometimes I think the challenge is that, like, it's just simply, can you see me?
Right.
Like, how are you finding it? I'm not on the dating scene.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever dated, actually.
No.
But no, I've been a serial monogamous.
You said that.
Yeah, it's like I have. It's like I've been in 2 very long-term relationships.
Right.
And so I've had interactions with people, but I wouldn't call it like I was dating. It was just like, all right, well, you know, we chilling and we hooked up, whatever.
Right.
But what to you is dating? Like, what does that constitute?
Dating sounds like an active word, so it's a verb,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And teacher, good.
My teacher just came out.
Yes.
No, it just, you know, when you hear dating,
Mm-hmm.
it sounds active. It sounds like movement. It sounds like you have to participate as opposed to
Yeah.
being a spectator.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You gotta
Right?
be involved.
Or both.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's about getting to know different people in
See,
different
that's the part.
spaces.
That part there, the getting
Yeah.
to know part.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
getting to know, you know, and I think what makes people feel seen versus unseen is, like you said, the getting to know part.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we put a lot of effort into doing that anymore, especially where you're hearing where people could be in long-term relationships and still not feel seen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was having that conversation with Audra last night
Mhm.
after, hey Audra!
Oh, Audra.
No, Audra and Michelle.
We
Oh
shot
my
not
God.
all
Let
of
me
that.
tell you,
Listen, that was a whole thing.
us as a foursome,
It's a
having
hot.
brunch, whatever it is.
It was funny.
It
was
was-
like the thing.
I was just tired.
Who were we talking about? What's the actor that we were talking about? That what's the guy? He had the
Ooh.
issue and his lips, and we were talking
Oh,
about
God.
what's
Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan Majors. Thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
We thank you for
We-
all the goodness that happens in this
She just
world.
love her some
And
Jonathan Majors.
I appreciate it.
know.
I'll tell our dad I said I did. He's what did Audra said? He's civil rights beauty.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what the internet said about him. So we are just repeating what social media said about him.
Thank you, John.
He's civil
Thank you.
rights handsome.
He is gorgeous.
Forget y'all.
With all his beautiful nose,
He
the
is
broad lips, the lips, the
beautiful.
hair, all the
He's
things.
just
I'm
naturally
like,
beautiful.
good.
Let me tell you, Jonathan, if nobody in the world loves you, just know the BoujAunties do.
I think a lot of people love him. But it's like, he ain't got that problem. He fine.
Right.
We just on the list. It's okay. But back to feeling seen
We
in
see-
the dating
we
world.
see
right?
that- we see him, right?
We do see
We
him.
that-
Right. Seen. Okay. Seen.
Oh my God, I had too much. I had to laugh.
So I was, when I say serial monogamous, what I mean specifically is like I don't know if I ever gave myself the time to go from one person to one person to one person, right?
Right.
So I think I would wait, and the person that I was dealing with was the person,
Okay.
and I stayed, right? And learned who they were as I was in a relationship. So I'd say like maybe 19 to 30,
Right.
it was I'm with this one person. And I think what influenced that for me was AIDS,
Okay.
right? And I was like, I don't want to put myself in positions where now I have to figure out if I'm safe or not. And
Right.
so that really made me go, especially like in the early 90s where things were just so up and down. It was like, okay, well, this is who I'm dealing with, and that's where I'm at.
Right.
There's good to that, and then there is bad to that,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so now, even at this stage in this relationship, what I like about the serial monogamy, like that long-term space where you're in a relationship with someone, is that you grow, the person grows,
Yeah.
and you're growing with each other on a certain level.
Right.
And it's not cute and it's not pretty. I think the person who I'm in a relationship with now is not the person I started off with.
Okay.
Like Ade has evolved into a whole nother person,
Right.
rooted in who he is, of course, and I've evolved into another person as
Right.
well. And so that, I think, is a powerful space, but I also think there's a power space in dating and courting
Right.
and getting to know people.
Yeah.
I think the vulnerability
Right.
that has to be present,
Yeah.
that isn't nurtured.
It isn't nurtured.
It's not nurtured.
You
I don't
mean
think- in our community now,
right in our
it's
society?
like it's not nurtured to be vulnerable, to say like, here's my rawness as
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
explore.
You know what I found out? That even when, you know how they say, yeah, when somebody tells you who they are, like believe it,
Mm-hmm.
that is a harsh truth, or one of the harsh truths
Mhm.
of what you're talking about, which is transparency,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
A lot of times we don't want to hear what transparencies that person is communicating to us.
Because it's
Because
ugly.
most of the time, it's ugly.
Yeah.
But most of the times, I think we have already made up the type of relationship that we want to have with this person, how we relate to this person,
Exactly.
and we build this story about how we are going to be in the relationship
And the
and how they are
reality-
going to be.
Right. And then the real reality feels ugly, right? It
Yeah.
feels like this isn't the story I made up.
Right.
This isn't when a person is coming and saying, I've been to therapy and I'm working through these things, right?
Right.
Not that I've been to therapy and I got through these things,
Right.
but I'm literally working through these things. It is calling for a level of patience from each other, not just, each partner.
Yeah.
Right? To like, I speak to people who are in the beginning stages of looking for long-term relationships. And so generally I think around 27 and up, you start kind of going, I may be tired of just sleeping around, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with sleeping around. I think really being able to explore sexually is an important thing in people's development,
It is.
right?
But we have to remember to do that responsibly, right?
I'm stating from here that my assumption is that people want to live and I'm speaking to the people who want to do it responsibly.
Okay.
But not just responsibly wearing a condom, but who are you spiritually allowing into
Right.
and who are you spiritually going into, right?
Right.
And if your stuff is all wonky, then being respectful sometimes to say, you know what, I'm not in the place right now
Right.
to be this close to you.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And that's vulnerable. So if
Right.
you meet someone who you've already created the story of, oh my God, I like him, I like her, you know, whatever, right? And you create the want that you want. The disappointment comes when they go, I am Jonathan Major, but here's the thing.
Right.
I got some shit I'm dealing with.
Right.
But Jonathan, you're in my dreams. We've had all these relationships and we're doing all these things. Like, yeah,
Right.
but I have a terrible temper and I don't like to sleep at night and when I'm overwhelmed and whatever, right? Like, it's not the perfect thing that, you know, I'm being facetious that we want in people, but people are human, right? And
Right.
they're going through their stuff. So where do we find that space of patience in the dating experience to allow people to develop and
Reveal themselves, kind of thing.
yeah, like I think it takes a high degree of patience with yourself and with them, right?
Yeah, and I think if you're in a space in your life where truth is something that you live by or it's one of your core values, you will allow that space for someone to actually present themselves to you, right?
Yeah.
I think that is something that has to be nurtured, and dating is one of the experiences that can nurture that sort of patience. Because with dating, you come with you're open most of the times when you're dating, right? And it's
Maybe.
yeah, but
Are you open?
yeah, if you want to have fun, you know.
I think being on Tompkins Avenue and just kind of watching,
Yeah.
people go through their process. They come in the back of life, or they walk up and down the block, and I see
Right.
the different dating experiences.
Yeah.
Is it the real person showing up in those first dates? Are you open?
It depends, because some people really show up and then you just be like, nah, boy.
You see, but because and that's
Like,
my point.
okay, yeah.
That's my point, right?
And
Yeah.
let's date her for the next time.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, I
It's like-
gotta tone it down.
You know.
But
like, okay,
But
some,
you're being vulnerable. You're being vulnerable. You're being your real self. You're showing up.
you
and-
are somebody who coming into you with their shirt all, and
What? The shirt all
like
what?
a daisical, like, yeah, boy, I ain't really bathed today now, but I wanted to meet you, and you know what I'm saying?
Well, if the person showing up ain't really made today,
Come on.
I think there's
Really
more
big today now?
there's more issues going on than the
I just
dating.
wipe
Because
off.
oh God, not the wipe off.
Nikki, come on.
Not on the first
You
date.
know?
Not on any of the days. I want you to bathe. I'm like
98
I just-
sweltering degrees.
I just want you
need
to
put
take
on
a shower.
deodorant,
I want you to
you
just.
know?
Okay,
I don't
so
use that.
again, as the thing that I'm assuming that people are using protection, I also feel that people who are coming through are bathing. Our baseline has to be higher. I've decided. I'm saying that for the crew right now.
I know, right? For our event on August 5th, please bathe.
Please bathe. Yeah, you stupid. Okay, so you let the cat out of the bag. We're doing an event, and it's our first BoujAunties event. I'm not 100%. I'm not going to say the date because we
Right.
didn't confirm it yet.
Right.
But we're brewing something nice, and the brew is really figuring out how to create safe space for people to come and mix and mingle.
Yeah.
To really come and be your authentic selves
Yes.
and show up.
Yeah.
Show up. I
Yeah.
think we're having a panel discussion with a sexologist, a numerologist,
Yeah.
a couples counselor.
Yeah.
I got this idea because I was looking at that show, Married at First Sight.
Yeah.
And no, by all means, nothing. I'm not saying to get married to anybody.
Right.
But I like the idea of creating very intentional spaces. So there's
Yeah.
no
Like foster
Right.
real connection.
real connections
Yeah.
where you can come, have some music, vibe,
Yeah.
have a nice little drink,
Yeah.
non-alcoholic or alcoholic, depending
Right.
on where you are in your
Yeah.
process, and just interact with people in a way that it doesn't feel like pressure.
Yeah.
I
No
think
pressure.
no pressure at all.
Yeah.
So you can show up as yourself and meet people who are being themselves as well.
Right.
Which, do you think that our world that we live in right now fosters those experiences, or are you? I've gone out to a few places and I'm like, wow, you gotta really come a certain way to be accepted in these spaces.
Yeah, so
Right.
to answer your question, no, spaces are not intentionally fostering, spaces for people to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Not intentionally. I mean, yeah, you go to a club or you go to a lounge, you do have that ambiance,
Mm-hmm.
but are they saging out their corners? Not that we are saying that they don't, but we don't know what they're doing in those spaces, right? You don't know the energies that are being let go in those spaces. People probably don't consecrate their spaces sometimes.
Also, I think it's the holding space for people to just allow themselves to just
To
be.
just be, right.
And so if you walk into a space, I want to feel like no matter what you have on, like you're external, right?
Yeah.
I want to feel that when I walk in that shouldn't matter.
Right. Yeah. Come as you are.
Yeah, come as you are, and be who you are.
Your bikini and stilettos.
Okay, be who you are. Maybe not in the bikini. What is going on?
You
What? Okay, if
this
you
is
want,
like church.
if you want,
When
you want
Duncan then show up in
in the bikini and the
the
stilettos,
jeans.
I'm just feeling like the stilettos might hurt your back at some point.
I
It's
know.
like, if you want to wear the bikini, wear the bikini, right? Stilettos, pelvic tilt, all the things. Thinking about wellness.
We taking them all.
Yeah, I'm just like, might not rock out long term. But the idea around being able to have safe space to be able to just be, right? To show up, to laugh loud if you want, or to be quiet if you want, and not be performative.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like when you show up in these dating experiences,
Yeah.
first, I don't think the thing that I saw growing up, I never really saw people date, right?
Okay.
I heard of terminology like courting,
Yeah.
right? And I like that. Like a
Yeah.
person comes and is interacting with your family.
Right.
You interact with their family.
Right.
It's like a slow cook,
Yeah.
right? And I'm not saying that to say, oh, don't have sex on the first date or whatever.
Mhm.
But what I am saying is like there is something that is shared when you get to know where a person is coming from,
Yeah.
and they know where you're coming from.
Right.
You get to look at a woman and see her mother and go, and so that is what I have to expect.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Like this is who you can like grow up to be.
Or not.
Or not.
Yeah.
But this is your baseline.
Right.
This is who you're coming from. It makes you understand sometimes why, you could be in a conversation with a person and you're being in their relationship because it's so intimate that their reaction might be this way because this is where the family you came from.
Right.
And that disconnect that we have right now, or lack of connection, it doesn't really allow for that unless you're really intentional about it.
Right.
So which brings me to not really social media, but can you be intimate with someone that is like long distance? Do you think you know them more if they're not in your presence?
Well, they say what? Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Because of why? Because you get more conversation?
I guess because you actually have to have a conversation with that person.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that they say absence makes the heart grows fonder, I wrestle with that adage, but it's like, why is it that you have to miss me in order to appreciate me more? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you like someone, you would want to be in their presence most of the time because you're getting to know them. You're developing a connection,
Yeah,
right?
but there's
You're
something
creating physical intimacy.
There's something about that, but there's also something about honoring space.
There is. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, 'cause-
We could honor space together, though. You could be in one room, I could be in the next. You know what I'm saying?
I get that. I get that.
One of the reasons why I say that is
Mhm.
because people who want
honor space
relationships,
together.
right? Yeah, we
Mhm.
can honestly. There's a song that I like, right, on YouTube, Dally,
Who's that?
featuring Marsha Ambrosius. I think it may be her artist,
Mhm.
but okay. But the name of the song is Alone Together. I love the words of this song.
Alone together.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Be alone together. And it's so, when you think about the concept, it's like.
Well, what does the concept mean to you?
It means that um, we could still be together and still go through the changes or the necessary changes that we need in order to make our union strong.
Yeah.
Anything that we do, I think because we live in such an individualistic society, I also think that is why we miss out on dating, and that is why or how we miss out on good relationships. Because everyone is so focused on being their best selves
Mhm.
that while they're being their best selves or working towards that, guess what? They barricade everything or anyone else out of that space,
Yeah.
not
Because they're
realizing
privately trying to
right
do that.
to
Yeah.
reorganize, reconstruct,
Mhm.
deconstruct, all the structs. But
Not the struts.
yeah, you know, what about
Being.
being vulnerable enough to actually
transparent. But that comes
let
back
someone
to
into your process because you don't know how that person can help your process.
you also don't know how they're going to help your process, but the difficulty of being that transparent in front of anyone
Yeah.
is that you're inviting people's opinion, right? And that doesn't always sound or feel good.
Welcoming, yeah.
Right. It's very uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
For someone to see that you are trying to figure out your let's talk very tangible things, right?
Yeah.
You're dating a person
Yeah.
and you're both going out to eat,
Yeah.
right? And this person after a while goes, "Oh, we always going out to eat," or you say, "Oh, we always going out to eat. Let's stay home and cook,"
Mhm.
right? Okay, I'm staying home and cook. And then all of a sudden you get in this rut of you just staying home and cook, and the person is like, "Well, I don't want to go out because my finances don't allow for me to do that."
Okay.
And I think that is a honest, good space to be in.
Yeah.
But someone might also look over and go,
But we cook at home, right?
"We cook at home, but sometimes maybe, you might have to do most of the buying of the food because they don't have.
Well, now there are nuances to it because they might have.
They might not. Like
But-
it might be that month. That
But
month.
we cooking together, right?
But we cooking together.
Yeah.
Right. The thing is, that sounds good and
Yeah.
it feels good
Right.
for some.
Right.
Others might judge it and go, "Well, why you don't have your finances together?
Okay.
Let me help you."
Oh,
Right?
okay.
Not even a bad way. Let me help you.
Yeah.
Right? So now the light is shined on you, not in, "Oh, your hair looks good and your butter looks
Right.
good and you got Jonathan what the man name again?
Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan Major Lips. Right.
Right.
Although that looks good,
Yeah.
but the crux of the matter is your finances don't match that experience. And here's this person saying, "Hey, I want to support you in this,
Yeah.
and I'm going to call you out on the fact that you didn't budget or you didn't do or
Right.
you didn't whatever."
Yeah.
That feels uncomfortable.
It does, but guess what?
Mm-hmm.
When you're, if it is that you
Mm-hmm.
are on a certain journey, right, to
Mhm.
becoming better,
Mm-hmm.
I think, especially if someone is not condescending in how they're critiquing you, and they say, "Yo, I want to help you,"
Those are stipulations.
you know, right?
Because
I want to help you.
you can take it as condescending though.
We
'Cause-
can, but guess what?
Mm-hmm.
This is where communication comes in because I'll be like, "You know what? I'm gonna take your help because I realized that I couldn't do it by myself." Now,
Very
all that I
grown. It's very
ask-
grown.
It's very grown.
Somebody has to get to that point.
They
right?
do.
Yes,
And
Nikki.
they can't be
Yes.
forced into
No,
that.
they can't be
Yes,
forced.
right.
Now,
And
I
that
can
takes
have the
patience.
conversation.
That takes
It
a lot
does.
of
It takes
patience for
justice
that.
on the
Yeah.
other person's
Because
end.
then you have to realize that, oh my God, like I was poor in that area. You know,
Oh,
it
challenge.
takes you.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
challenges,
All
right?
of us, right?
And that is the whole thing. Before I go into the next one, I'm saying, yeah, then I would, in all the transparency, would probably be like, can you not be too can you not be condescending with me? Can you really be genuinely free in how you express to me how I'm going to get better with my finances? That's all I ask.
And the courting, right? That courting, that dating, that being seen,
Yeah.
right? Is finding the language to say that.
Yes.
So that's a very simple thing to say.
Yeah.
But how it may come across to the other person is like, oh, you don't want my help.
Right.
Right? Oh, you're rejecting me.
You see, and the
right?
whole thing, we could say things like that.
Right.
No, I'm not rejecting your help. You know, because for some reason, I don't know if, I know for some reason I'm like that. I come up with all the nuances of the other person that I think the other person would be coming up with.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of rebut it. I'll be like, no, I do want your help.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think that I don't want your help. I want your help.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want anything in either of our communications
Mm-hmm.
to disrupt what the valuable information that you will want to bring across to me. I don't want anything interrupting that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's be as, plain as we possibly can without being offensive.
And that's powerful. So that clarity and that communicative way of being able to express your feelings from a space of centeredness
Yeah.
and groundedness
Yeah.
is, I think that's the root of any relationship, whether
Right.
it's a sexual relationship or
Mhm.
a relation, whatever, right? And the patience it takes to get to that space is the key, right?
Yeah.
It's like the key to understand that the language, somebody's love language may be to fix,
Yeah.
right? I just want to fix the situation up.
Yeah.
And they're trying to fix the situation so you could be happy or they could be happy, but what it feels like is that they're fixing you, which in turn could feel like, oh, something's wrong with me,
Yeah.
right? Or why can't you just love me for who I am?
So like they
or
take you
accept
on
me?
like a project kind of thing.
Right, and
But
so
it's my finances you're talking about because guess what?
it could be your finances, it could be your
Right, it
health,
could be anything.
right? I
Right.
just use that as an example, right?
Right.
The point that I'm making within that is the patience that has to grow, right? That patience doesn't come, like I didn't see that patience growing up, right?
Right.
But I did see love, and I did see people struggling to find the language to say love,
Right.
right?
So that's in itself is patience. Remember? Love
didn't
is
really
pa-
show up as patience.
It didn't show up,
Today's
but
time,
demonstrating.
though, do we really carry that patience?
But yes, we
Some of
do.
us try to find it for ourselves.
We do try to find
Much
it.
less trying to give it to somebody else when
Yeah.
you're in pressure, when you got eyes on you and
Right.
stuff like that. Like,
Yeah,
We do.
yeah.
I'm going
Good
back
point,
to
Nikki.
the
Good
scripture
point.
that says, yeah, that is a good point, Nikki. I'm going back to the scripture that says, love is kind, love is patient,
Mhm.
love is this, love is long
that needs to
suffering,
be on the wall
love is that.
in the
love
conversation
is-
room.
Yeah, I honestly think that we take it and make it something else.
We do.
We misconstrue
We
it.
do,
You know,
we do.
because
And I think,
if somebody beating you down in a relationship, that is not long suffering.
And-
I ain't long suffering that.
and the person who's beating you down may be not real. I'm not talking about physical, because that's quite obvious, right?
Mhm.
But it could be an emotional beatdown that you think is a beatdown, and that person is like, I'm just trying to make sure that we boom, 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 right?
Right.
Or you're doing something to a person that they feel is negative, and you don't think that that's coming from a negative space.
Right.
But it's their receiving or you're receiving.
Right.
So I think it's that space of giving yourself your voice to be
Yeah.
able to say, this is what I like, this is what I don't like.
Right.
Which brings me to this question. Can you do all those things? Can you be patient? Can you be transparent? Can you, show up and have a voice? If you don't do it for yourself alone, can you do it with someone else? So you said, can you be together alone? Was
Yeah,
that the
alone
thing?
together.
Alone together,
Alone
that's
together.
the song?
Yeah.
Right? How comfortable, not you, but the people that you have found in the world that you've interacted with, how comfortable are people with being alone? With themselves? Like with their thoughts, with their experiences? In your opinion?
In my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
I could only talk from a personal space. I mean,
Of the
okay.
people that you've interacted
Observing,
with,
observing some people, like I've been around people who cannot be alone because of their inner experiences, because of their because of whatever experiences that they're having with self.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot be alone. They don't want to be alone,
Mhm.
right? Because of because of the darkness, some of that stuff dredges up for them,
Okay.
right? And like you said, that confronting things like that within yourself,
Mm.
it takes patience, right? Most of which is not cultivated on, the earlier part of our journey, like you said, right?
Right.
Right. So yeah, I've met people who cannot be alone. I've been in the midst of people who is like, yo, I need you to, I just need you to be with me, or let's go. It's like almost like they use you as a distraction.
Boom. That's the word.
You know where I
Go
see
ahead.
that? When people cannot be together without having a conversation. When people can't be quiet,
No quiet.
together,
No
Yeah.
silence.
it's like you can see the anxiety
Yeah.
raising
Yeah.
because there are no
Words. Right. And so nothing is wrong with having silence in between us. That too is a conversation in itself.
can be.
Being just those moments where we could just sit across the room and we don't have to say anything. We might look at each other and smile.
Like I used to feel rejected. In my first relationship, it was I need time for myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't love me? Like what? I'm just like I need some time.
Yeah.
I need some space.
Yeah.
And I think in that youthful newness of a relationship. I'm not talking about age. I'm talking about the youth of a relationship. You just met a person first 2 years or whatever, and you're still trying to figure out what you mean in the like what's the deeper meaning of the relationship, right? The need to be so on top of each other, and not because of jealousy, just because we need to be together, right? I think anything that you plant, and this is what I've learned in my own life, and it was hard. Trust me, it was a hard thing, right? Anything that you plant needs space to grow.
It does.
Right? And so you put a seed in, and you need to space it out and put another seed in.
And it also needs watering and pruning
All
and
the
changing
things.
of soil.
All the things. But if you are so caught up on like putting everything together, it'll choke the experience, right?
Okay.
And so I do believe that alone together portion makes sense.
Yeah.
If you have an issue with being alone with yourself, then how do you now work on that? Because you have to be honest,
right,
in these relationships you have with people, because people will call you out on your stuff, right? And so the very thing that you are running from, when you move into an intimate relationship with someone, that thing shows up. Those experiences show up. And so if you yourself didn't get a chance to have time to refocus on it, what you're now asking is for another person to focus on this thing with you, and they're going to come with their own stuff that is going to interrupt what could have been your own development and reaching into your own self and going, well, why do I do this? Or why do I feel this way? Or why do I feel like I have to be with you all the time?
right,
My have to be with the person all the time was my own insecurity about myself, like my own self-worth and who it was that I felt I wasn't complete unless I was in a relationship, right? And once that was understood, it allowed me to be in a better place to be in a relationship with someone where my existence in that relationship didn't define me. Right? And I don't know if that's I know for a fact that wasn't easy for me, but I don't know if that's easy for other people. That space of sitting in with yourself and going, all right, well, this is my shit.
Yeah.
Right? And this is why my shit exists, and how am I going to figure out how to shift this stuff so I don't have to stay in it.
Yeah.
I think if anyone is going to be in an intimate relationship with anyone, everybody should get some therapy together. Like if you really,
like nothing is wrong with that.
yeah,
I
mean, not just by yourself. Like if you're saying,
couples therapy.
yeah, like couples therapy, because the things that come up that I don't even expect to come up, and it's just about communication.
Yeah.
It falls back into you need support, like this dynamic of it's just me and you against the world.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, could it be me, you, and the village? Could everybody like come in and like You know, because
Yeah.
the weight of all my stuff and the weight of all your stuff, it should not be put on just us,
Right.
right? That intimacy and the bigness of that intimacy, the patience, the commitment, is being able to look and go, oh, look, here's these elders, right? The Dulcies when they come in, right?
Right.
Right. We look at, Mr. Kenneth and Auntie Dulcie and look at them and you watch them. They've been together for over 30 years.
Right.
And you watch their process of how they deal with each other. And there's times where he'll say something and she'll just look at him like, man, look, right?
Yeah.
But she doesn't respond, right? She's not quick to love them so much.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about the quick response, it's about the thought. Or, he'll say something and be like, I'm just waiting for like whatever she says, right?
Yeah.
And you could tell this kind of experience is their communication level is so deep and grounded that
It's
they don't have to
nurtured.
pick at each other for everything.
It was nurtured. Yeah.
Exactly. There's
Yeah.
a lot of patience and a lot of not giving up.
Right. And it wasn't nurtured by one person. That's
That
the love
part.
that's nurtured
Yeah.
by both
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
entities.
Yeah.
Right. And I think
And we need examples of that.
we do.
Right? Because when we walk into these experiences and we're like, oh, I want to be. Everyone that I know,
Yeah.
I don't know any person, man or woman, that
Mhm.
has said, oh, I don't want to be with anyone. I want to be by myself. I don't care what age.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah, but I'm saying in my circle right now.
Yeah.
I've heard it before, but
Right.
in my immediate
Circle.
circle right now,
Yeah.
whether you're in your 20s or you're in
Yeah.
your 70s,
Yeah.
it feels like, and I think it has something to do with COVID and that isolation that people had just being home,
Yeah.
that there is a want for connection.
Yeah.
Right? And we need examples of healthy connections.
Right.
And they're around.
They
They're
are.
definitely around, but it's connections that work. Like, it's not just, it's a verb.
Yes.
Teacher now.
Yeah.
Right? But it is a verb, it's an action. Like, you
Yeah.
constantly have to
It's an
put
active
effort.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that is something
Mhm.
the effort is something that we are not willing to put forth in this society because
I think that's a blanket statement. I don't think so.
okay,
I don't agree.
not for all of us.
Mhm.
But for some of us, because in actuality, sometimes we judge people from a superficial point of view,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And there is something I noticed that exists in society, especially amongst our community. People always ask you what you do as a profession.
Mhm.
And I honestly believe this because I've had it happen to me.
Mhm.
They always ask you what you do because they are measuring in their mind's eye the degree of respect that they should give to you.
You think so?
Yes, I've seen it. I've experienced it myself.
Okay.
We measure people by titles. There's something in human nature that loves, and nothing is wrong with it, but it's when you interpret it from a toxicity, that is when it's reflected in a dark light.
So you're saying that people ask people what they do based on how they're going to judge them?
Right. So people
Their-
ask
their
you
worth.
what you do so that they know the level of respect to give you. I always see it as a meme on Facebook, and I
Well-
honestly believe that.
I mean, nieces and nephews, do you think that? Do you think when you ask people that the answer is going to tell you if you respect them or not, or where their worth is? Nikki, how do you feel about that?
I think it's definitely factored in. Yeah, it gives people a sense of your status.
Mm-hmm.
It gives people a sense of maybe your work ethic.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Your
ambitions.
your ambition.
Mm-hmm.
How you're viewed by others. And if they want to be tied to that or not.
Mhm.
I
So what
definitely think
would be
it's-
something that someone is doing, their job wise, that would make you a person? I'm not even going to put any of us on the spot. That you've seen people go, oh, I'm not gonna mess with you because you do this.
Mhm.
Like, what would be a job or a career?
A sanitation worker.
I'm definitely getting out of sanitation.
Hello,
They got
we would because we
good
understand they have good health
coverage.
benefits and all that shit. Right.
You're saying right now.
But
That's
listen
it. They
to
got
you understand?
good coverage.
Right.
That's
You
it.
understand? You see?
So you
I'm like, Ade,
how-
me,
you see?
me and Ade should become sanitation workers so we can get some coverage. That's it. But yes, I understand. I understand.
Right?
But
I see how
other
that
people,
is.
Other people may not be looking at it from that aspect. That's
Right.
something
Well,
you can work with.
I'm-
But for other people, it may be, just seeing their person on a garbage truck or
Yeah.
thinking about other aspects of their daily work life.
Right.
But I
That
think
they might
that's
not
that's
be able
a
to do.
that I'm always uncomfortable with that, right? Because the I come from the men in my family are, working class men that they, electricians and sanitation workers and MTA
People
and
who make the
right?
world move.
Right, exactly right, and also artists and carpenters and construction workers and so forth. That to me, the creative process within all of that is that you have to exist somehow in this world and you do what you need to do.
Right.
I read that like a while back that people that, especially in America, always ask, what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
And I made it a point when like I started doing massage and I was interacting more in the public with people, not to ask them that. Like sometimes I really don't know what people do and it's not really to my detriment, but I'm always surprised. Like I'll look up and, this person is like some Fortune 500, whatever, and they do this and they do that, and you've been massaging them for years, and I have no idea like the who and what they are out in the world, but I
Right.
know about my relationship with you,
Right.
right? And that I think is one of the good things that happens in life is that we don't place that much value in what you do, but more so who you are and
Right.
how you show up, right?
I mean, I ask people what they do in order to meet their needs in my
Right.
session.
Are you sitting down a lot? Are you
Right.
whatever?
That
but,
kind of thing.
But to know if how many likes or followers.
Yeah,
or,
I don't care about that.
Or I was actually working. I remember very early on in my career, I was working on someone, and very nice person. In fact, she's a really good friend now. And I called her like in the middle of the night. I was like, Lucy, what is the secret life you have on Instagram? Like, how are so many, like, I said, you're a whole ass artist? And she just laughed so hard. She's like, Khadija, yes, I have a very, very big career as a, art gallery owner and all these different things, whatever.
Yeah.
But that isn't important when I come in. And when I come in, I'm just in pain.
Yeah.
And that is what we try to really experience when we meet people, right? Not just in here, but meet people where they are. That takes away for a moment the importance of what you do. Now, to be honest,
And that is what dating should be about.
right?
Meeting people where they are.
Where they are, which then lets you open the door to see more, because it does, if you're trying to create a family and a life and whatever,
Right.
where you are, especially where are you grounded in, and then also where you're trying to go to,
Right.
or even where you're trying to get to and where you are,
Right.
is all important. But it shouldn't define if I have a conversation with you,
Right.
It shouldn't be like, oh, you're I don't know, you don't have a office job, or you don't have a this, or you don't have a that, so I can't talk to you.
Right.
I think
And
you
guess what?
missed out on the opportunities of meeting
That
the
is
most
true.
amazing people.
People, right?
Mhm.
But guess what? There are those people who are very calculated and I should say archer-eyed, like very direct.
Mhm.
And there are some women who will straight up tell you, I'm not interested in dating anybody who does not make more than I do. I'm not. They have those points, and for some reason, those women that have those lists, they tend to get exactly what it is that they need.
I don't think
and
there's
want.
anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with being very specific about what it is that you want and what you want to achieve in a relationship.
Mhm.
What I think the danger is when you lock the door on possibilities too fast, right?
Yeah.
Because
You do that a lot.
the person can't have children. They had 3 children. I had 4. Then we had another one, right? together, right? And so by all accounts, we shouldn't have really got together, right? He should have been looking for somebody who didn't have children, or somebody should be looking for him who, but the reality is we live in a time where if you live long enough, you're coming with baggage, right? And you may not have, all the things that look like on paper what you're looking for. And it could be this great person who don't have all the points but have the potential.
Right.
And so I think along with that archer-eyed or that focus on who you want, I think we all should give ourselves the spirit of discernment and patience to be able to also meet people also, because you might be surprised the actual thing that you want in a person may not really be the thing that you need for yourself. It may not even feed you. It might, but there's this small possibility that if you just, instead of staying right here, you just shift it to the left just a little bit.
Yeah.
There's the person who will nurture, you both
Right.
will grow and blossom, and that possibility exists as well.
It does. And I think what makes the way for those possibilities is
Mhm.
having that open conversation and being transparent while dating. That is
Yeah.
what dating is supposed to
Yeah.
be used for. I honestly believe that there are some people who don't know how to date because I believe there's a technique and a way
He just raised
to
her hand.
date.
She's like, I don't know how to date.
You know.
I don't know how to do it.
I think,
I don't know how to date.
and I think it's not a cookie. Yes, dating there is a overall system,
Mhm.
but there are nuances to dating based on the person, right?
I
Because
think-
everybody is looking for a particular
I
thing.
agree with that, and I also think that you could be in a relationship and date as well, right? And not just go on a date with each other, right? I'm saying like allow for the fact that you are in relationships with people and they're also changing. So who you met donkey years ago
Right,
has evolved and grew because of circumstances,
right.
and you hopefully are growing as well. So you all meet each other from a different point of view.
So you mean dating that person that's
Yes.
evolving?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Dating that person in the relationship.
Relationship.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
of course, there's polygamy.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about polygamy and polyandry, and that,
No.
that's a whole other
All the entries and
topic
the
that
columns.
I'm fully willing to have discussions and hear people's point of view.
Yeah.
But I'm just speaking specifically about these one-to-one things that you have in hand, like not even just dating. I'm thinking like you have a relationship with friends that
Yeah.
you've known since, I don't know, high school,
Mhm.
and now college and life and so forth. You've changed.
Yeah.
And if you're only talking about, girl, you remember when we did that? And every time you see each other, you're just talking about what we remembered,
Right.
then you're not really meeting the person in who they are today.
Their nowness.
And to see them,
Yeah.
right? And so to me, going back to that same conversation we started with, do you feel seen, right? Being seen is an action, and you consciously have to put effort into see the person as where they are, not where they were. Not
where you want them to be.
or
kind
not
of
where
thing.
you want them
Yeah.
to be. Where are you here today?
Right.
Okay, this
Right.
is where you are.
And I think a lot of people go unseen, and I've seen it. A lot of people go unseen because of that.
Mm.
A lot of people go unseen because of, okay, I might be shining too much today.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And I think that's the space that dating opens up for us.
Okay.
It slows down that pace.
Mhm.
It gives you more of more traction on the speed that you want to go at of getting to know people and
Mhm.
what it is that you're trying to get to know
Right.
about people.
Right.
To
Right.
have those other conversations or to make way for those other thoughts that's going to be like, you know what, this could be a good partner for you.
Well, I want to say that our nieces and nephews are
Mhm.
coming up in a time where you have all the opportunity to get the therapy, see yourself,
Right.
allow yourself to be seen,
Yeah.
but it is work.
Yeah.
And when people say to me about anything,
Mhm.
when they start the sense of, oh my God, but it's so hard.
Right.
And I just go, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. It is.
Yeah.
Like everything is not going to come with ease.
Right.
Everything is not going to come as easy, and even the hard in the effort there's a sweetness that comes when
that comes with it.
something comes out of it,
Yes.
and it doesn't actually happen quick and fast, but
Yeah.
it's a thing.
Yeah.
So
So I kind of, yeah, that was nice in what you said, where people, people don't. We have to see each other.
we all want to be seen.
We just all want to be
We all wanna be
seen.
seen. First by ourselves.
You know, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
First by ourselves. Sometimes you don't want to look, but look at yourself.
Yeah, we have to.
Look at yourself.
We have to.
That's what you're gonna show
We
up
have
in
to.
the world as.
It is, and
Yeah.
it's crazy when other people can confuse you if you don't look at yourself and they see something in you that you don't see, you don't recognize in yourself.
Talk about that. That's real.
Yeah, it's very real.
That's real. I
You
like
know,
that.
that's why it's so important to sit with self, so you know everything that you have to offer. You may not know everything because we're always evolving
It's
too.
true. It's true.
You know?
It's true.
So don't be so like quick to get offensive if somebody sees something in you and they're like, it may be something they like or dislike and you surprise them like, really?
Yeah.
Or really?
Man,
know.
I get told all the time. Yeah. It's like I'm like, okay.
I like to hear how
You're right.
Yeah. It's like you like to hear how you look to other people, not because it's like,
You're
oh my
right.
God, I gotta, but you just want to hear. It's interesting.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Life will keep your interest.
It was.
All right. That was good.
That was really nice. So, nieces and nephews, tell us, those of you who are dating, or those of you who are in relationships and want to keep it, a nice ebb and flow between you and your partner, let's hear how you guys date. Let's hear if you have any anxiety about dating, meeting
there's
new
so much
people,
anxiety
making
around
new
dating.
connections, right?
It's like the first day of school all the time.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, do I know anyone? That's it.
It's crazy.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Yes. Peace. Don't forget. We almost did
Oh my God,
forget.
my favorite part. Go,
Yes,
go. Do
you're
it, do
funny.
it, do it.
So we have to subscribe. Tell all your friends. What else? Comment.
And
Please comment. We
come
want
on,
to
say
hear
the part, say
what
the
you're gonna say and what you're thinking. Okay, we gotta keep the family bonded.
Bang the bell. Bang the bell.
She
Bang
loves
the
this
bell.
part.
I
That's
love
why I
it.
let her
Bang the
sing.
bell.
Bang the bell. Okay.